Hello and welcome to the Red Jacket Club. My name is Andy. I'm here with my friend Brendan, and this is where we talk Cardinals baseball. Today is Sunday, April 2nd. We're recording this early in the morning before the third game of the opening day series. Just sometimes that's the way life works out. We weren't able to recap the whole thing, but we're just going to talk about those first two games today, give you a little bit of our thoughts on that, and let you know a little bit more about what's going on around the league. But before I get into that, if this is your first time coming to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. It really helps us out as we go through the 2023 season. Brendan and I were at game 2 yesterday. Really enjoyed being back at the ballpark. Brendan, how did it feel for you? What was your experience, and what did you think of the game?
Well, first game, our first win of the season.
That's
first
awesome.
Game of the year for me and for you as well. So it was good, man. It was just awesome being back at the park. It's my happy place, man. You go there and you just have a good time. I was able to watch Flaherty warm up close and personal because we were sitting in right field. But I believe where you were behind one of the dugouts or something.
We were on the third base side, so we got to see Nolan do Nolan things. And it was kind of cool to watch him work, like being a third baseman and like an infielder, just watching him and really focusing on how he fields a ground ball. I know like it's fundamentals, but just seeing how far he stays down, like he does those simple things to the extreme. Like he does 110% keeping his eye on the ball when he's swinging, or he's 110% going down and staying down on a ground ball. Like he sees it into his glove. And it was kind of fun to just focus on that yesterday, being that close to be able to watch him do that.
Yeah, it was nice kind of watching him make a few plays whenever the Blue Jays were looking really bad defensively. I mean, that cost us the whole game, or cost them the whole game yesterday, which we'll get into. We don't have to get too in depth right now. Real quick, though, before we get started, I do want to give an update on some St. Louis sports.
For sure.
So unfortunately, St. Louis City has their first loss of the franchise. They lost last night 1-0 against Minnesota. I didn't get to watch it because Apple TV, it was not a free game on Apple TV this week, so that kind of sucked. But it looks like we lost on a PK, which sucks, but I don't know. I'm sure we'll be just fine. Losing 1-0 is not too bad, at least what I think. I'm not an expert in soccer.
It was just a bad foul in the box.
Yeah.
Like, we had some good opportunities, especially at the end, but it just didn't seem like the smartest thing to do when a player's in the box.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I saw the PK, but I didn't see the actual foul that led to it. So we're looking to bounce back next week against the Seattle Sounders. And then in the XFL, they play today at 1 o'clock. So we'll see how we do there. And then NHL, I just realized that there's only 2 more weeks in the regular season. The Blues, from the last time we recorded, took a game and lost a game. So they're back to 500 at 35-35. And they will not be making the playoffs. And that is all I have when it comes to the other sports. If you can go ahead and get into baseball.
Baseball sports. Yeah, Cardinals news. There's a lot that happened over the weekend here, starting with one of the big things that I don't think anybody knew about, according to Adam Wainwright himself. But the big news item coming out of opening day, other than the offense and everything, was that Adam Wainwright sang the national anthem. It's not the first time a starting pitcher has done the national anthem. I don't know if it's the first time he's done it for a pitcher has done it for opening day. I think it's Stephen Brault, who used to pitch for the Pirates and Cubs, and I don't know where he is now. But he used to sing the national anthem like all the time for the Pirates. But Adam Wainwright, country music star himself, took the mic on opening day, and I mean, I was shocked when I saw it. I don't know what your thoughts were, Brendan, but they were talking about the big up and coming star in St. Louis. They were building it up, and all of a sudden they said Adam Wainwright, and it was really cool to watch the other pitchers react to it too. But what were your thoughts when you saw Waino step up to the mic?
Well, I was just listening on the radio since I was driving at that time, so I had to listen to
Ah.
the, for lack of a better term, atrocious violin intro. Sorry to
Yeah.
whoever that was, but it at least over the radio did not sound good. Maybe it was great in person, but
No, it was kind of weird.
sounded bad especially for opening day. But anyway, yeah, whenever Waino started, whenever they announced Waino, I didn't know it was a secret, so I didn't get to see everyone's reaction live. I was just like, oh,
Mhm.
cool, like that's sweet, because I know he's been working on music a lot. But after I saw the video of like Monty reacting and having no idea that Waino was gonna sing, that was pretty sweet, man. That was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
From what it sounds like, what they approached him to do it, and then he suggested like his bandmates to
Yeah,
do it, and then the bandmates I think accepted, and then shortly after that he's like, you know what, I'll do it. And so it sounds like he's he's got his retirement plan figured out. I think I think
yeah.
he's ready to continue with his music stuff, and it was really fantastic because obviously he was supposed to pitch that game, and unfortunately he got hurt. So I mean, it was the next best thing in my opinion.
Yep.
But unfortunately, to talk about other injuries that don't really seem to be too much of a problem, but it's never good when players get hurt, especially when it's your big free agent signing. The only free agent signing that we really had during the offseason. Willson Contreras left the first game of the series after taking a 103-mile-per-hour pitch from Jordan Hicks off of his right knee. Immediately, they took him back, and x-rays came back negative the next day on Friday. They gave him an MRI, and the MRI came back negative. And I think yesterday, Saturday, he was working out in squatting and everything to get into like a catcher's position, and everything seemed good. So it sounds like he could be back in the lineup today. As we're recording this, it is not currently the lineup is not currently out, so we don't know yet. But does sound like good news for our new catcher.
Yeah, it's obviously unfortunate, any kind of injury, but we escaped a scary one there. I think that I saw once I saw the video that he actually did run after the ball after like hobbling for a minute. I kind of figured he'd be okay, because if it was something really serious, he probably wouldn't have been able to go after that ball. So
Mhm.
I think it was kind of telling that it wasn't a serious injury. Obviously, it doesn't feel good at all. I bet that was some severe pain for sure, but just happy that he's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those things where you just stiffened up like almost immediately. Like whenever you get hit on a joint, it almost like swells up pretty instantaneously. So I'm sure once that run ended, like it just started to to give him everything, and that's why it looked like he couldn't really put any weight on it. But yeah, it would really suck if Willson Contreras, who I really contributed in that game, we'll talk about it, would have gone down because, as you've seen already from these last two games, Andrew Knizner can't really step up to the plate. No pun intended. Other injuries that we have going on: Giovanny Gallegos has been out with a back injury. It sounds like that's also not too serious. He's gotten an MRI. There isn't really anything showing up, but they are trying to keep him off of relief duty until they think that he's ready. That could be today, but haven't heard back on that yet. And then Lars Nootbaar also is day to day because he jammed his thumb sliding into second. Um, and so it could be today, or I know he's just day to day, so it could be a little bit into the week before we see Nootbaar back in the lineup. But Brendan, do you have any other thoughts on the injury news or Cardinals news in general?
Nope, it just it shouldn't really affect us too much, because it sounds like everyone is just kind of day to day right now, which is a good sign.
That is very good, especially to start the season. Could be a lot worse. But we'll get into our series recaps. We're going to try something a little bit new, and I'm going to give Brendan the ball here. I want Brendan to tell us exactly what happened, and as quickly as he can. Hopefully, we can do this in 30 seconds, like we attend. But Brendan, give us the 30-second recap of opening day series.
All right. just to preface, this is our first time doing these these series recap episodes, so we really have no idea how this is going to go, but we're going to give it a shot. So, all right, everyone, game 1. Holy roller coaster of emotions this one was. Cards tie it up in the 4th inning, 5-5, then take the lead in the 6th, and then they blow the lead. Then they take the lead again in the 7th, and then they blow the lead, and then they take the lead again in the 8th, and then they finally lose in the 9th inning because they blew the lead once again. Donovan hit a bomb. O'Neill hit a bomb for the 4th opening day in a row. Arenado does his thing. Every Cardinals starter recorded a hit in this game, and obviously a 10-9 game, or 10-9 was the final score. Pitching really let us down in this game, but it's a long season, so I'm not too worried about it. In game 2, walk this way, say the Cardinals to the Blue Jays. The Cardinals combined for 10 walks and 1 hit by pitch in this one. Flaherty accounted for 7 of those walks and the hit by pitch. Free bases were a huge problem in 2022. Pretty much had to restructure our whole pitching staff. And so my question is, will they be a problem in 2023? Nolan Gorman had a 2-run single, and the Cardinals scored 3 in the 3rd, which is ultimately all the Cardinals needed for the win in this one. The final score was 4-1.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in both of these games. So I'm kind of glad that we aren't covering game 3, because I think we could talk a whole lot about games 1 and 2. But let's stick with game 1 for now. Some of those top performers in game 1, you had mentioned them. Nolan Arenado, Brendan Donovan, Tyler O'Neill. And what was really interesting about game 1 was how much the offense clicked in the beginning of the game, or throughout the whole game, really, in making sure that they picked up after the slack of the pitching. So what I was happy to see was that even though Donovan and O'Neill hit a bomb, there's still Nolan Arenado doing Nolan Arenado things, and just, again, like I said, keeping his head down, hitting line drives, different things like that. Like, he's on the precipice of one of his big achievements in his career of hitting 300 home runs, and he's still trying to just drive the baseball. He's not trying to do too much. So it's pretty great that everybody was locked in. It seemed like the offense kind of waned in game 2, but what were your initial thoughts on game 1?
Well, this was the one that I couldn't watch. It was opening day. I couldn't watch it, so it was really unfortunate. So all I saw was highlights. However, I did the very last episode before the season started, I said something about hopefully Donovan keeps this power surge over into the season, and that he did with the home run in the leadoff spot, which is nice. He ended up going 3 for 6. Yeah, I mean, high-scoring game. I kept getting notifications, and it just kept flip-flopping, and I didn't know what to think, because I knew that, obviously, if the score's that high, our pitching didn't do very well. So, yeah, my first reaction was just pitching, and then I saw that combined, what were there, like, how many hits combined was there?
There was something like 24.
15 plus, not more than that.
15 plus 19,
34.
34.
Yeah, 34 total hits in the game. So really both sides just did not throw the ball too well there.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's something that's interesting, is to because a lot of the reaction was that our pitching was dog shit, and then there's, I mean, the Blue Jays, who have excellent pitching, even in Alec Manoah, who was pitching for them opening day, he didn't pitch very well. So it does kind of stink that, because Mikolas, I mean, just that last spring training start, he did go 7 shutout innings, and then he comes into this start and he just couldn't locate the strike zone, which was unfortunate. I have a note here that just says that it was pitch poor, which is a pun on piss poor pitching performances, and it really just was. I mean, Jordan Hicks is starting to kind of concern me, especially watching him live. I don't know if it's who he's pitching to. I mean, he did start pitching to Wilson Contreras, and then he knocked him out of the game. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem like he's either in the right mindset, or in the right role. I mean, we kind of discussed it when he brought up himself that he didn't get a fair shake at starting. He's not closing anymore. Maybe he's just kind of in like no man's land and doesn't know exactly what his role is on the team or something. I don't know how to attribute to it. He's just not pitching well.
Yeah, I know that people are gonna think that I'm a broken record, but I think, man, we need to start using Chris Stratton in those kind of situations. Just Hicks is not impressive. He's just kind of looking like he was last year. He throws the ball hard. What else can he do? It's like if I don't know. I just think he's being utilized in the wrong role right now. I think someone needs to step up and be that guy, which obviously when Gallegos comes back, he will be that guy to get that like 8th inning role back. But Jordan Hicks, in my opinion, is just not the guy right now for that role. But one interesting note I had on the starting pitching in this game, Mikolas went 3 1/3 with 10 hits and 5 earned runs, and Alec went 3 1/3 with 9 hits and 5 earned runs. So they almost had a identical game, but that just shows that the pitching for both teams was not good. There's 3 total blown saves in this one with Jordan Hicks, Ryan Helsley, and their pitcher Yimi Garcia. So just bad pitching, really.
All
or
around.
Good offense. I don't even know.
I mean, the offense was pretty good. One cool thing to come out of it was that O'Neill hit his 4th straight opening day home run, which means that he ties Yogi Berra, Gary Carter, Todd Hundley for the MLB record. If he hits another one next year, maybe that could be some history. But that's insane to hit 4 home runs on 4 separate opening day appearances. It's just wild.
He feels good. I guess he's just an opening day guy. He just, I don't know. He gets right out of the gym and then hits bombs on opening day, I guess.
I guess so. But that's really all I have on game 1. I don't know if you have any other collective thoughts on that game. I know you weren't able to watch it, but it's just unfortunate to lose the first one, especially all the fanfare and everything like that we put into opening day.
Yeah, well, obviously, the big news out of game 1 was pretty much Jordan Walker getting his first hit. So that's always, right. Always a good thing to see. Other than that, though, I mean, it just, I don't know. We blew it, but it happens.
We blew it. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about Jordan Walker in a second. But in game 2, like you mentioned, we did win 4-1. Jack did go 5 innings with no hits, but 7 walks. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. It's just one of the weirdest no-hit performances ever. I was there. I don't think there were any extra base hits in that game. Do you remember? It was like an almost opposite performance. And I did some lazy research. I didn't see
you're right. Yeah, there were 0 extra base hits, which I didn't even realize that. Yeah. There were a few balls hit kind of in the gap, but not quite to the wall, which I guess held everyone to a single, which is crazy. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the wind affecting things or what's going on there.
There were just a lot of ground balls, man. I don't know if you remember, but I'm sure you remember, but all like the ground balls hit to them. I mean, they made a few errors. Actually, Kevin Gossman had a great outing. But he gave up 3 runs and all of them were unearned.
Yeah.
So just bad defense really on the Blue Jays part. And then I don't know. I guess we just put the ball in play enough for them to make errors. And a lot of ground balls in this one for sure.
I specifically tried to give Matt Chapman the benefit of the doubt going into the series, and then all of a sudden he decides to create a big error. He fields a ground ball and tries to turn it, but it gets caught in his glove. He tries to throw it to first, and then it goes past Guerrero, doesn't it?
That one went to the dugout.
Right. So that was Nolan's infield error hit thing. And so there were a couple infield hits, mainly from Jordan Walker, who's stroking the ball really well right now. But I think it was just a factor of the day. Like it was kind of a windy, disgusting day, and it probably died the ball down a little bit. Other than that, we weren't really getting the ball up in the air at all.
There was 2 fly balls. One hit by Alec Burleson, and then the other, I think it was Nolan Gorman, that were way up in the air to right field, but just not the right launch angle there. If they hit it plenty hard, but if they would have just kind of straightened it out a little bit, I think definitely 2 runs would have been the result of those 2 swings. But yeah, just got under it too much.
That was something kind of funny, actually, when I was reading why the lineup shook out the way that it did yesterday. I don't know if you saw the tweet from, I think it was Jeff Jones. There was somebody, it could have been John Denton too, that broke down the lineup decision on Burleson over Carlson. And they said it was because of the vertical break or some type of break in Gossman's fastball. Burleson would be able to handle better than Carlson. And Burleson handled it, but he didn't handle it enough to where he could get the ball out. I mean, he was hitting the ball hard, but every time it was a fly out. So, yeah, I don't know. Analytics, maybe they work, maybe they don't. But at the same time, I'm just not a big fan of Alec Burleson.
Yeah, well, I do know that I am going to check his like hard hit ball though, real quick.
He was hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, so he had a 96 mile an hour hit ball, a 101 and a 110 that he had in that game. His 4th.
But weren't they all outs?
They were all outs. I know, but you don't like the metrics that I look at. I look at the game very objectively, and you keep me straight and tell me that he went 0 for 4. So stop talking about how hard he hit the ball. But yeah, I don't know. Like we said last episode, I mean, Carlson seems to be a platoon guy, so I don't see why he should have played that game, especially because he can't hit righties very well. So hopefully when we see a lefty, he'll get a start, and then we'll see how he's doing. I mean, he could win a starting role if he just hits, obviously. But
yeah, and I think that his spring training performance should show that he does hit more than Burleson. But at the same time, if they're going to look at vertical breaks and make sure that he can hit the ball just enough to the wall to be able to get an out instead of hitting a ground ball for an out, I guess that's what we'll do. But enough of that. I'll stop being so bitter because I want to talk about Jordan Walker. This kid had a great first 2 games, and I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to him. So we'll just start our segment of Jordan Walker Watch.
So Jordan Walker started the first game in right field, batting in the 8 hole, and he went 1 for 5, which we talked about. He got his first hit. That first hit was like 100 plus off the bat. I mean, he ripped it up the middle. And then he started in right field as well, and he batted in the 7th hole, mainly because Andrew Knizner got the start since Contreras is hurt. But he did have 2 hits in this game against Kevin Gausman. I think one of them was a little generous. That totally could have been an error.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, so, but another thing is we saw his first stolen base in this game, and that was super encouraging that he is going to run for us. You know, that was kind of a question coming into the season, like, is Jordan Walker going to steal bases at the big league level? Well, he's certainly going to try because he ran. I think he's going to continue to run. He's just one of those speedy guys that you would not think to be speedy since he is 6'5", 220. But no, he's looked really good. And I know you just talked about how you're not a huge fan of just average exit velocity, but he does hold an average exit velocity currently of 91 miles an hour, and multiple balls are hit over 100, even 105. So he's looking really good, in my opinion. But what are you seeing from Jordan Walker?
What I like to talk about is what I see, and what I see is promising stuff. Defense was a little rocky throughout the series, but that's just because he's not an outfielder. We kind of talked about this with Josh Jacobs. I know that he's going to have a learning curve himself, but at the same time, like it is costing some runs, and so. I don't know how long you keep him in the outfield just to learn the outfield. I mean, I don't think you really do that at the big league level, but at the same time, I'm not manager Ali Marmol, so we'll see. But I just noticed that, like, and he'll figure this out, but as soon as he started to run up on this double that was hit to the corner, in right field, I was like, oh, that ball's going to bounce right by him because I just saw him running too close to the wall. I don't. It's just not knowing the dimensions of the park and everything like that. It's going to take some time for him to get to know that stuff. But regardless, the hitting is what I am really interested in. I know you talk about barrel rate and hard hit ball rate. What I see is he's stroking the ball, and it's not really leaving the infield right now. He did hit one our way yesterday, and just roped it into the stands.
Yeah, I
But
saw that.
he is just completely stroking the ball, and once he starts to figure out those mechanics and get them completely down for the big league level, I mean, he's just going to go completely off. Like, I don't see anything stopping him, being that he's already catching up to big league hitters or big league pitchers, excuse me. So, yeah, he's got the power, he's got the speed, he's stealing bases, and once he's figured out the position, I think he could be an all-star this season. I mean, he's definitely got the potential to be one.
All right, so I'm gonna dig into it, and you're not gonna like the stats, but Jordan Walker currently does not have a launch angle over 6 degrees, and that tells me that he's gonna make a very small adjustment, and these baseballs are gonna start to go for doubles, home runs, because the average the average launch angle for home runs is around 25 to 30 degrees, which is what you look for. And since he's hitting these balls super hard into the ground, just wait till he straightens them out, gets a little bit of air under it, because he's gonna be coming into his own here pretty soon. I don't see him topping the ball as much as he is for the long term. You know, it's just a very small adjustment that I'm sure he has to make. Maybe just stay back a little bit longer, and then he's gonna be ripping doubles and home runs, in my opinion.
I think so too. It's very exciting, and I think you're right. I think that adjustment could be made today. I think it could be made during the series against the Braves. Like,
It's a
I don't
very
think
small adjustment.
I don't think he's far off from being one of our best power hitters in the lineup. So
Yeah,
uh,
if his exit velocity was, I don't know, like under 90s or something, like,
yeah,
and he's not hitting the ball hard, he's like grounding out softly. But the thing is he's grounding out, but he's hitting the ball super hard. So
yeah,
it'll swing around in the positive for him for sure.
awesome. Yeah. Let's move on into what our expectations are for today. I mean, I don't think the lineup is still not out yet, but um, I hope Walker's in the lineup again. I have a couple of quick things listed here. First and foremost, I guess a strong outing from Jordan Montgomery would be great, especially after what we've seen from the first two starting pitchers. Yes, Jack Flaherty did have a no-hit bid through 5, but I mean, he easily could have lost that game just from all the walks that he gave up. I'd really like Monty to lock the offense of the Blue Jays down, not allow them on base as much as we have for the first 2 games, and really get things going from that standpoint, handling the pace of the game well, and making sure that it doesn't get too out of hand. There are a couple other milestones that I just thought of. First of all, Jordan Walker could get his first home run today, which would be very awesome. And second of all, Nolan Arenado, like I mentioned, is upon a very big milestone. He could potentially get his 300th home run in his career today. So those are a couple things that I'd like to see, but wouldn't be disappointed if they didn't happen.
Yeah, looking forward to today's game. I think it'll be all hands on deck because we want to take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays here. So I don't see anyone getting a rest day, especially this early in the season. I bet everyone just wants to win this game. But yeah, I think Jordan Walker will be right where he's been in the last couple lineups. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw him move up, like Burleson hitting the 2-hole yesterday, maybe mix a few things up where Walker could kind of get up towards maybe the 5-hole, if like Nolan Gorman hitting the 2-hole kind of thing. But I don't know, just exciting. I mean, they got Chris Bassett on the mound, who I'm not too worried about. So we'll see. Hopefully we can take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays and get the season started right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be a real big statement piece. Obviously, a lot of people are counting the Cardinals out, especially in these power rankings. They're putting us behind the Blue Jays. So, be really cool if the Cardinals could just stamp down and say, nope, we are a good team altogether. Our pitching has shown that we are a little bit not a good team, but
Yeah.
yeah, if altogether we could beat the Blue Jays in this opening series, that would be awesome. But that has been our series recap. I think we are excited for today's game, excited for another win. Um, Going on to play the Braves next, I think for a 3-game set. So that'll be kind of cool because Chip Carey will be able to cover the Braves for the first time since leaving the booth for them. And that'll be the week series. We'll cover that hopefully Thursday after the series wraps up on Wednesday. But going forward, I think we just have a couple of quick things from around the league. Brendan, why don't you hit us with some news from around the league?
So a couple things have happened, nothing too big, but we've got 3 bullet points here talking about what has happened around the league. And there's a couple of extensions that happened. One of them is one that I talked about. There were a few rumors that the Guardians were going to try and sign their young guys just like the Braves are doing. And that's exactly what they're doing with their reliever, Trevor Stephan. Trevor Stephan is one of their holds guys. He's like a 7th, 8th inning high leverage type pitcher. They extend him for 4 years, 10 million total. I think there's a bunch of incentives that I didn't feel like getting into. And then the other extension here is the Padres extend Jake Cronenworth. He has been one of their centerpieces in the lineup for them, hitting in about, in the middle lineup, like 5-hole or something like that. And then, did I say Jake Cronenworth?
Yeah, that's who we were just talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Jake, I wanted to just talk about Jake a little bit because he is somebody that I really like to watch, although I don't like the Padres hardly at all. They are, or he, the Padres are smart in locking him up because, I mean, this guy plays everywhere for them. He's literally a utility guy and very good at playing second base. Another reason why I like him. But he plays first. He plays short. He's playing the outfield, I'm sure. Like he's just all over the place. In 7 years, 80 million. I don't know where the Padres keep getting all this money. I mean, they're just locking people up for crazy amounts of cash, and I guess they have it. But like the Padres, if they continue on their course, they're going to be a pretty decent team with injuries outwithstanding for the next couple of years. Like next 5 years, Padres have a good core locked up.
Yeah, that window's looking really good for them. By the way, the numbers on this extension is 7 years for 80 million, which is a really good value for this guy. Like I said, he's in their lineup every single day. He's probably going to hit 15 plus home runs, around 800 OPS. So just lock him up and yeah, keep building for that window that they have currently. The only other news that I have here is, I don't know if anyone has seen the video, but Anthony Rendon for the Angels got in a scuffle with an Athletics fan who apparently called Rendon some names, and Rendon didn't have it. MLB is investigating this issue, which I don't know what your take on this one is, but I don't know. I go back and forth because I understand why Rendon would be annoyed. Like I don't know, fans just chirping at you all the time, but at the same time, he does get paid kind of to handle that kind of thing. So I don't know. I go back and forth on this one. So
I mean, you don't do this. This is bad. Like, you don't put your hands on a fan. I know that this happens in the NBA, not to talk bad about the NBA, but like it's happened in the NBA a lot. There have been brawls and stuff like that. It happens in hockey. It happens in other sports. It's not just baseball here, but I mean, you just don't do this. What could he have been saying that would have warranted him trying to take a swing at the guy? I mean,
probably nothing that he's never heard before.
Yeah, it was a weak swing and nothing that Mike Trout was right there. It's nothing that Mike Trout has never heard before. Shohei Ohtani probably gets it. I'm sure he does. but like both of those guys were right there. Hunter Renfroe, I think, was walking right behind. You don't think those guys have heard worse stuff talked about them, especially Hunter Renfroe? Do you know how bad it is to be an outfielder in the MLB when you got stupid fans that are
Yeah.
drunk behind you? It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't condone this. I don't think that this is good. And it's even worse that there are so many angles of it now to really show that I think Rendon was in the wrong, and I don't know if he serves suspension time, he doesn't play, or I'm sure he'll just get a big fine. But like, this is weird.
Yeah, I'm sure at most maybe 1 game suspension type thing, but definitely a fine here, I would think.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad enough to where the fan could possibly take legal action. I mean, like if he actually hit him, then I could see that going even further down in the tubes, I guess. But like, it's just it was weird to watch. I mean, I had never seen because he's always so nonchalant on the field, and I mean, he even talks about how he doesn't like to play baseball. So like, he's kind of one of those guys that's just kind of odd and in the lineup, but doesn't really want to be there. So I was kind of surprised to see him so animated. But
Yeah, I don't have too much more of an opinion about this one. Just wanted to kind of point it out. If no one's seen the clip, then it is an interesting watch. So
yeah, leave it to Oakland fans to really poke the bear.
yeah,
um, but somebody, I think Fuzzy pointed out that was gonna light a fire under the team. They scored 11 runs in an inning the other day.
yep,
So maybe it helped. Maybe it didn't hurt as much as it looked, but who knows?
yeah.
But with that, I think that is the wrap up for our first episode of the regular season. We're excited to see what happens today. Another matchup against the Blue Jays. Hopefully we get the win. We will be here likely Thursday to talk about the series that happens after that. But we appreciate you following us so far and listening so far into this video. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot with the channel. If you haven't followed us anywhere, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok at red_jacket club. We are posting daily Cardinals content all around those places. And yeah, please keep following us as we keep going into this. We appreciate you for listening so far, and we appreciate you for joining the club, and we'll see you next time.